Hello, speed gaming viewers. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are. Welcome to a Link to the Past randomizer. It is our daily race. Today we have a bit of a special treat. We are doing an Overworld glitches with a shared sword. That's going to change up our opening routing, well, all of our routing, honestly, through the game. You're going to see a lot of interesting choices throughout the very start all the way up to the end. Because we're going to get around the world in some interesting and different ways. I'm Adalor. With me in the Dawn today is Dawn Venyer. How are you doing?
Hello, I am doing very well tonight. Just been enjoying watching some rando, played some rando earlier, and I'm excited to go and watch this race. I really love Overworld glitches. It's something I didn't expect to like when I first joined the mentor tournament, and it looks like we're off. What I like about it is that there's so many different routing choices early, and the amount of movement you have to get around to places. You can start chaining a bunch of locations together. Looks
Map.
like
It was a pendant eastern and crystals at the other two.
Alright, I missed what was on the island. It looks like
Yeah,
Crow wants it, so he's
looks
gonna go teleport down into it. And then we found Canis Samaria and Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, Krellble's going to show off one of the very first glitches you can do. So you do a what we call a downward teleport into that slope by boots clipping into it. He's checking Hobo, so I'm guessing the island is nothing. And you can check Hobo right away too. You basically put yourself on that ledge. You go across the transition. Ooh, he took the arrow shot from the guard though. Sometimes you just get unlucky.
Yeah, that one thing with fake flipping, the way he did it, it does have some room for error for that arrow guard to take a nice shot at him, off at him. And there's nothing inside Lumberjack Tree, and we got bombs for our tier 1 tree pull today. It looks like Krellbell is gonna go back and try again for the Hobo.
Yeah, he's committed to this. Yeah. So now we can try explaining it again. Yeah, so you clip yourself just barely so you can run across and get up on the hill, and then you jump off and hold with an up left motion right after you screen transition. Sets you up for a really easy fake flipper setup. All you do is hold left in midair once you've jumped off, and you can go straight to Hobo. And this is in logic. So a little bit of a briefing about what's in logic and overworld glitches. Overworld fake flippers, water walks, which are technically just an extension of fake flipper, which is an extension of splash deletion. And then there are several different ways to clip into different parts of the terrain. Like at some point, we will likely see one of the more popular ones, which we'll call a Death Mountain Ascent. Actually, Denty's doing one right now.
Yeah, so with the Death Mountain Ascent, you do this series of movements which allows you to get up to Death Mountain in a different manner than you would in without overworld glitches. And it looks like Chex Human is also doing the same thing, and so is MM2. This seems to be a very popular start for these runners.
Yeah, three of these guys have decided they want to go straight up the mountain, which is not a bad play. When you start with an assured sword, you have a little bit of freedom to kind of go right for Hera, which is actually what Chex is doing. He's taken a variant of the DMA we call a squirrel-less. Instead of going into the old man cave and rescuing him, he's opted to go directly for Hera. So there's a little bit of interesting divergence. I'll see how this plays out.
Part of that could also be because in this mode, even though a lot of things are available logically, the old man is not in logic because you do not have the lamb to return him home. So that could also be part of his decision when doing this.
Dante is going straight for a Graveyard Ledge, which is another Sphere 1 check in Overworld. You can go to the same spot you would do one of the Hera clips, which is away from getting to the bottom of the mountain to the top of it, going straight into Hera. And instead just kind of transition yourself southward and you're right on top of Graveyard Ledge.
So like this is another part of that like opening route divergence. Going the way he did, you can get a lot of bombs early to ensure you have some for Kakariko, as well as because he did the Graveyard Ledge descent, it changed his camera positioning through the game, and he's able to collect 225 rupees in the Houlihan room.
Yeah, doing a descent off that, the game doesn't quite know how to handle that. Your camera's a little bit off. It looks fairly normal, but it's adjusted just enough that you drop into the hole, and it treats it just the same as if you'd done the one of the normal Houlihan methods.
Alright, so we are still getting some more diversions here. Let's see if MM2 decides to do the exact same thing Dainty did. And it looks like he is going to go for that Houlihan room for the extra money. Well, Chex Human is in the not Moth fight, the Moldorm fight.
Cheximan does. I think as a player, he tends to like the immediate hero play. He's a very competent player, honestly. Even outside of overworld glitches, like he's a very good execution player. So, and no doubt he's comfortable just doing this with just the basic equipment you start with.
Yeah, and with a assured sword, it does actually almost always ensures that Tower of Hera is in logic to be completed. Besides, if the big key is down below and is fire locked. And I'm actually kind of surprised that all 4 runners on stream here decided to all go up the mountain before even heading to Kakariko. It looks like MM2 is on his way towards the Eastern Palace or Sahasrara's closet.
So it is interesting because in an NMG seed, you would see like almost guaranteed you're going to Kakariko like first thing, whereas in Overworld glitches, the opening sphere is so much more it's so much wider. There are a lot more options, so you tend to see runners put off Kakariko for a while, hoping they'll get items that let them get extra checks out of it, particularly like a bottle. Maybe even if you get magic powder, you can go straight for magic bat. You don't even need hammer for it. There are a couple different ways to get into it. Yeah, so Kakariko gets put off for a bit, tech usually, because they're looking for more stuff to make it more worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree with that. Being able to try and get all of Kakariko done on one visit makes a lot of sense. Like, you also need to find extra money for Bottle Vendor. The reason why that it surprises me a little bit more is because the tree pull was bombs, which doesn't guarantee the items in the town. And MM2 finally making his way to Kakariko while Dante is going up Tower of Hera.
And Chex is going to show off one way to get past the hammer requirement on the Death Mountain Bridge. You can teleport yourself up into the clouds, and ooh, there's a sword on the island. So that's actually a nice bonus because you can kind of just run across here and clip yourself into the island, and then clip yourself right back out again using what we call spin speed, which is basically armed super speed, but you don't activate the super speed. But putting yourself in spin speed lets you clip through diagonal ledges like he just did.
Yeah, did he check the inside Spectacle Rock? I feel going straight across there, you kind of orphan Spectacle Rock a tiny bit, of course, with how quickly we can get to Tower of Hera and around that area, it's not so bad. But then
yeah, I didn't see if he did, but he could have done it really quick while we were watching anything else. There's a lot to pay attention to here and a lot to explain.
Yeah, MM2 finding the bow and a mushroom and half magic and the shovel. So we found a bunch of fetch quests inside the Cag well.
Shovel's actually really nice to find in Kakariko, because you can loop that shovel check in with one of the typical routes. So one of the usual routes is you'll go through Kakariko north to south like you do in a No Glitches seed. Then you get to the maze race. But from there, we'll most likely see MM2, anyone who does this route, clip themselves straight down to the desert area, clear out items from desert, and then head east to pick up like K45, and now they can add that shovel check into that route.
Yeah, that's like another reason why you would also put off Kakariko a little bit longer, is just try and wait to find shovel or a glove to complete more of the area in desert. Like you said, being able to clip down into that area, and you just want to clear things all at once. And we did find the flippers inside Paradox Cave.
And a glove, actually. Speaking of gloves, yeah, there was a glove in the middle chest. So one glove tends to be a pretty big deal, as it does in any seed. The second glove, not so much of a big deal in Overworld glitches. There are a lot of ways to get around that second glove. So it's less common to see mitts in Overworld. It kind of depends on where things land.
Yeah, like depending on the seed, you want to explain what Chex was doing?
Chex Week, we're going to call that a waterfall DMD. So DMD stands for Death Mountain Descent, whereas DMA stands for Death Mountain Ascent. A lot of Overworld glitches is getting on and off the mountain. And that in particular is because there is one portal that is always accessible. That's the mountain portal. Every other portal in the game has some kind of requirement. Most of them are hammer glove. There is one of them that can also be 2 gloves, of course. So getting out and off the mountain with ease because you have boots makes that one portal oftentimes your way to access the Dark World for like a good chunk of a seed, if not almost the entire thing.
There's nothing in the back of his escape. So what I was gonna say is the ooh, and the book Inside Desert. That is also another check for Bombo's tablet, but unfortunately he does not have the Master Sword yet, but you can still at least see what's on the tablet.
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to get to that. You either see him clip directly to the tablet, or there's a cool little drop you can do from the K45 ledge. We'll see what he decides to do here to get to it. Ooh, Blue Melon Desert Ledge. That's nice to find early.
Yeah, Blue Whale is always a nice find. You know, to essentially double the amount of hearts you have is really nice early, going from about 5 to like 10 effective hearts. Besides on traps.
Dante's seen that sword on the island. He's going to try to do an upward teleport off of this little we call these bumps basically in the slopes that you can kind of boots clip into with basically you're pushing left or right and your boots button like 1 frame at a time. And that will just gradually clip you into a slope. And once you're at the right positioning, you let go of your sword spin and then hold a diagonal into the slope, and it will teleport you to wherever you want to be if you've got the right positioning.
Ooh, and that looks to be the mirror onside the Bombo's tablet over there.
There's a specific motion you do to. He's almost got it. You have to hold like I think it's upright as you're jumping. I'm not sure. I forget the motion for this one.
Yeah, I think when I was doing this run, my mentor said that you do like a downwards jump and then you dash right into it. But I've only gotten it to work like 2 times. I prefer coming from the left side there, which he's changing to now, because then you're a lot more used to coming in from this side, so you can just easily jump back in. And nothing on the shovel. So Chex made his way over to Mini Moldarm Cave, and then Krellbell just found the information that there's a mirror on the Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, so a couple of our runners will be able to get that whenever they get down there. The other ones are going to be looking for a sword still. A fire rod in K45, all right.
Fire Rod is a really nice one to find early. Just because it's such good damage. It pretty much 1-shots or 2-shots all enemies in the game for the most part. And then with half magic too, you are just able to like spam it for a lot more safety compared to just slashing things with your sword or trying to stun them with something.
Finding a fire rod right there also kind of gives them an additional consideration. You might see them go back into desert to finish it off, because now that they have a fire source, the land mole fight is completely accessible. So that's kind of like an on-the-fly routing decision. Like, do you go straight back into desert to finish it off?
I believe that you do. With having half magic and a fire rod, it really creates the fight to be ease. And MM2 doing this little clip into this wall to jump into what would normally be a glove lock location.
You just kind of mash yourself into the wall with your boots buffers, and then as soon as you go far enough to hit one, that one just auto hops you out. So you basically just mash it until it kicks you out, and then you put right up inside the circle of rocks. So you can get back here without a glove, and that's completely logical. Chex, I think, has given us our first look at Zora. Just a heart piece today.
So not a whole lot in that part of the world. It feels like what the game really wants to do is to come and get this mirror, which could open up some pretty bad locations for the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, this is going to work out really well for Dante and Chex, because we haven't seen the inner swords anywhere. They're going to be able to pick up that on the way down here. Well, yeah, once they find... I forget where the book was, but I'm guessing it's on the way somewhere.
The book was inside a desert itself, in the north chest. So with the routing that
check setting back to the
with
mountain.
and I missed silver somewhere as well.
You have silvers
Over on
already?
M2 side.
Okay.
And Krell also got the silvers.
Wonder if that was maybe at race game and Dante's about to get them.
Race game had bombs.
Oh, okay. That's one of our trackers in chat, Lightyear. Thank you. I was pointing out that we've got silvers and a Guinness cave. That's why we have trackers, to keep track of stuff for us. Because we're going to forget all the time or miss stuff.
Yeah, Chex and Dante, foregoing CAC for so long and doing the mountain checks instead, they actually had the advantage with that sword pickup.
Yeah, this really works out well because, like, Chex in particular here, he's going straight for K45. That's going to work out extremely well because he's gonna make one trip of desert. Like, Dante will have to come in and out. Chex has just happened to stumble upon the fire rod. It worked. This is going to be like an incidentally, like, perfect route for him.
So I didn't count items inside a Tower of Hair, but I assume an item is not a fire locked. Otherwise, even if an item is down there, with how often you enter Tower of Hera just to get around the world, there's always another time you can do the tile room.
Yeah, Hera clips are very, very frequent because it's very common to just like save and quit to the mountain cave, and then do a Hera clip just to get on top of the mountain. So if you ever want to go back into the basement for that Hera item, you can do that pretty much at any time. So we didn't talk about it earlier, but Krebel's about to cross what we call the land bridge, or the TR climb, if it's in the Dark World specifically. There is actually this bridge that's up here in the terrain naturally. By clipping up and doing a bunch of rolls, or if you play fighting games, half circle backs, you can then transition up top there and just run across that bridge, and that gets you across to the east mountain.
You notice the sign that was up there that has the previous Overworld Glitches tournament winners on it.
If you play a no glitches seas, you're not playing Overworld Glitches logic, and you go up there anyway and look at that sign. It just says, "How did you get up here?" And yeah, like Mumble says, like it is still the coffee break chest. Like you're probably gonna put that off for a long time until you feel like you have to do it. I mean, you're gonna walk by it several times, but probably not do it because it's still coffee break.
M2 got a little bit bullied by the Moldorm there and took one small fall. A lot of these runners are just covering each other's tracks. There's one location or area that people tend to put off until they have the mirror, which is the Hyrule Castle. So it's kind of good that they did that, because obviously they will find the mirror and they know where it is. So they can loop Pyramid into Hyrule Castle, which I assume is what they're probably going to do after completing Desert and have the mirror.
I'd imagine they'd like to clear out Castle before Eastern in most any case here, and especially since Eastern is a pendant, you'd like to not have to go into Eastern at all in this situation. But what we'll probably get to see in a little bit here is at some point we're going to see a pyramid mirror. It's a using the mirror to basically clip yourself into the pyramid fairy check without needing to drag the big bomb to open the door. And that's probably going to be not too long off at this point. I think Dante might be going for it right now, actually, because he has not corrected his camera.
Yeah, it seems like he opted out not to do Desert yet. I assume we found both items there, so there's really... in my opinion, I feel that it was the best time to do Desert as soon as possible with what they have, because I don't feel the fight will get any faster than what they are able to do.
Yeah.
But in the chance that Misery Mire is a crystal, there's still a good time to do it. And even if it's not a crystal, you can still loop it in with the Mire checks. The Misery Mire shed.
Okay, so real quick, kind of what Dante's doing here. He's put up. He went to the Dark World in his bunny form without fixing the camera. If he were to open his map right now, you would see that he's left his mirror portal at the castle, like inside the castle grounds. This is going to be important very shortly here because he's going to walk over and use that portal. With how the game put it in an offset position, it's exactly where we want it to be for accessing the pyramid fairy checks. And because we will be using the mirror to get in there, you're going to have... Oh, that's a cool jump. I've never seen that before.
Just showing off some things you can do with the overworld glitches. Otherwise, normally what runners will do is just take a death warp after correcting the camera at the old man to get here.
So because we enter this entrance with... Oh, nice red mail. With the invulnerability frames from the mirror transition, we get automatic Super Bunny, which allows us to open those chests. That is the only way to get that there. It's just very convenient that the mirror transition gives us Super Bunny.
And so far, both the Dark World locations for the center of the map here, red mail being the biggest thing that they found.
So see, routing here, now that Dante has checked the 3 items you can get on Pyramid, you're going to mirror back into Light World and you're at the castle, which is pretty much your next big density location. So you're going to clear that out. So that's ideal in early game and overworld glitches. You want to find the mirror so that you can do that those 3 pyramid checks and just go straight into castle. That's the most optimal way to do it.
Yeah, so it kind of feels like when you're playing a normal game, like CAC is one of the big item dense locations. Then you have Death Mountain. With Mirror in this mode, it really makes the center of the map also very dense. Which is why people tend to put this location off until they have the mirror to be able to check even more locations at once. That would normally be quite a chore to get to if you were to go to them individually or from them.
Chex is knocked out. The Lambolas fight, easy fight with half magic fire rod. He has now got 2 crystals tying up MM2 nests.
All right, then inside Hyrule Castle, we have found Titan's Mitts in the very first chest.
Ooh, I like this actually. We haven't found the Moon Pearl yet, but once we do, that gives us another portal option. The Kakariko Village portal is now accessible, which will potentially save us some time having to go up the mountain to get off of it to go to the Dark World. But that also opens up... well, that doesn't open up anything. We're still looking for a Moon Pearl at this point. And the Moon Pearl is starting to look like it could be in kind of a crazy location. Ice Palace is actually, as Malmo in chat here is pointing out, is a possibility. Another glitch that's in logic in overworld glitches is Dungeon Bunny Revive. So if you go into a Dark World dungeon and you don't have the Moon Pearl, you're obviously going to be just in bunny form. You can't do anything. If you can die in that dungeon, you'll revive as Link with full capabilities, and that is entirely logical. So your Moon Pearl, in this case, because we have mitts and flippers, could be an Ice Palace. You don't even need the flippers, actually. It's just the mitts.
We're getting our first mushroom turn-in over on MM2's side. I'm a tiny bit surprised, but also at the same time not really surprised. With what he had, MM2 could have been able to fake powder if he would like to. But no longer with that mushroom turn-in. Yeah, you said we're...
Go ahead.
We're running out of locations as to where our Moon Pearl can be, slowly but surely. With a mirror, it really puts areas in the Dark World in logic, such as Turtle Rock.
Or map check, actually. We got pendants on Mire and TR. Okay.
And the other
green pendant was specifically Mire.
And I saw, 5-6 crystal over on Skullwoods.
Not that we really care about those. We've got an early mirror. We're getting pyramid without those. Yeah, the 5-6 crystal.
As I was saying,
largely don't matter. So what Chex Human is doing here, because Dante hadn't gone to, Dante took a different route to get there because he wanted to show off, obviously. But Chex is just taking a death warp after fixing the camera, which of course spawns you at the house. And because you save and continue, you preserve your mirror portal location.
Yeah, as I was saying with the mirror finding so early, it really puts some poor locations as to where the Moon Pearl could be. It could be in Sewer Bunny, Turtle Rock with the Dungeon Buddy Revival, same with Skull Woods, and C-shaped house, the chess game using the same frame, enter and mirror at the same time to get the Sewer Bunny state, as well as with the Titans Mitts as well. It also opens up the Mire Shed.
Yeah, that's another one. Mirror plus Mitts, as Malmo has pointed out for us also, does access Mire Shed. Yeah, so the overworld glitches, there's kind of a phase of the game in which you don't have the Moon Pearl, and you're hunting for the Moon Pearl because you'd like to be able to do everything in the Dark World. And the Moon Pearl can often go in some very interesting locations. And the longer this goes, the more likely we're seeing that it's put itself somewhere spicy.
Yeah, it really feels with this Overworld Glitches mode. The first half of the game really is just the Moon Pearl hunt. Like,
Is MM2 giving us our first look at Mini Moldworm?
no, checked it earlier.
Oh.
I don't believe it really had anything of value.
So Dante has opted for Pendant Eastern, which is sometimes you just think, well, it's Eastern, you gotta try it sometime, maybe, if it's gonna take this long. So Eastern is still like the Sphere one. Oh, it's Cannonball again. Why?
So I was gonna say I actually really enjoy coming to Eastern Palace early. It's the checks aren't too distant from one another, and it does have 2 to 3 items. Looping in with Sahas really puts that area about 5 to 6 items in logic.
I hate this game. So to put that in a little bit of context, we do have a mentor tournament running for Overworld Glitches, and there have been at least 3 instances of the Moon Pearl being in Cannonball Chest. It's developing a reputation, so I'm just not surprised it's there anymore.
Alright, we got an Ether Tablet check. It's a whole lot of nothing.
So now Dante is got a lot more options, having found the Moon Pearl, of course. He's going to go ahead and do the Dark World TR climb. We call it the TR climb because you're climbing a ledge, and then you go east, and you can get to TR that way. There are a few different ways you can kind of go from this. There are actually a couple different options. You can put yourself into TR from one of the lower entrances, but looks like he's just going to run across and probably do some of the other checks up here too.
For a second there, it kind of looked to me like he was going to try and mirror wrap over into Turtle Rock, but instead he's just going to opt to do Sewer Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, and I believe he knows how to hover too, so he can full clear this, which makes it more of a delight for him to come here earlier.
Dante will, of course, have access to the Bonk Chest and Hookshot Cave. We're going to go for that. I think Dante is a potential hoverer. He might try to go for the rest, but the Bonk Chest, just like in NMG, is entirely in logic. Hovering is not covered in the Overworld Glitches rule set, so he can check these 3 checks out of logic, but this is looking good. Oh, well done, Dante. Well done. There's a lamp. Okay.
All right, is that where you...
Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to have a triple here. One more good item. What else do we got? A big 20. Okay.
All right. Well, after you get the first hover there, there's a nice bonk location to actually go and uh, get the second chest a lot easier than obviously having to hover to that last chest. And so he's now doing a rail clip by using that mirror. I'm gonna go to the light world, then back to the dark world. After moving down, he's gonna be in this wall. And he's gonna hop down to enter this middle part for Misery Mire.
You can just do a spin speed clip there, but I guess Dante just wanted to show off the mirror clip. It's definitely slower, but it looks cooler.
Yeah, it's definitely much slower. You can do the spin speed clip over on the left side and hop down in it, and checks being the second one to get his moon pearl. And it looks like he's gonna go further inside of here rather than go to the dark world immediately like Dandy did.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's committing to getting more items out of Eastern, which I when you get the mirror and cannonball or the pearl and cannonball, it's like you have to decide right away. Like, do you bail or go? And there's no way to know. Sometimes you just go for it. It's like I can't hate it either way, because maybe there's something amazing back here, but this is where you basically say, okay, do I believe the rando has put something back here? Just blind faith.
Yeah, and it's an location that you don't really want to orphan. I guess it's not so bad, seeing as how pod is a crystal, and you can always just loop more checks from Eastern with the pod mirror. And Krell being the first one to check what this last item is. And it's a hook shot.
Ooh,
hook shot.
Wow.
That is
that's spicy. So we do need the hook shot, of course. We have Swamp Palace as a crystal. That's 100% required. Obviously not required for a GT or for a hoverers, but there's no skipping that. So that could be quite an item that could be a big race changer, really.
Yeah, and with the location that it's at too, like I said, it's one of those things where you come up to Tower of Paris so often, but how long it takes to do the tile room. And then we know that they have logical access to the Dark World and at least 2 crystals that they can full clear.
Yeah, there's so many things they can do, but I'm sure Krell feels great about finding that when he did, though, because that's going to give him just one more item off the checklist.
All right, and it looks like Chex is going to go all the way to the back. He didn't mirror out or save and quit from the vanilla big key chest in Eastern.
Well, Dante has gone reverse TR. So in Overworld glitches, 3 entrances of Turtle Rock are logically accessible. Obviously, you still need the medallion for the top one, but the middle 2 entrances to Big Chest and then the laser eye entrance are completely accessible by a number of means. Just clip into that ledge. So it's very common to see runners do TR from the middle or even from laser bridge in complete reverse.
Yeah, and I believe with this logic, it could expect you to come from the middle rather than the front.
We have no medallions at this point. It's entirely possible that it just expects you to go from the middle. And that's not a problem. We generally don't care about the medallion for TR. As long as you don't do weird things with your keys, it works out pretty well. It works out every time.
So, Chex finishing Eastern Palace, there was really nothing of use there. The best thing that came out of it, besides the Moon Pearl, was a full heart.
Yeah, not finding much there, but at least you know it's done. And who knows? Maybe if we have a crazy item on Ped, he's 1/3 of the way there.
So, Krell going a little bit out of logic here from his perspective. Without that Moon Pearl, he's going to go and use that mirror to get Zero Bunny stay inside that mire shed.
There's an ice rod on Laser Bridge. That's adorable.
It's rod on Laser Bridge.
Indy is now obligated to kill Trinex.
Well then, I didn't see what medallion is required for Mr. Meyer. I was gonna say there's a possibility that the the pedestal could be in play with where some of these things are.
So what Krebel's trying to do here is basically use the mirror on the same frame that you enter the cave for Meyer's Shed. And if you do that correctly, you get Super Bunny State, and that lets you open the chests. Where he finds a full heart and a quarter heart. Okay. Not what he's looking for, but, you know.
So he's check mixing his way into Gen's tower. Without the hammer, he can't go on the left side, but with the Cane of Samari, he can go on the right side.
So GT, let's talk about GT a little bit here. GT is just accessible. You do not need the crystals to get into it. We'll never trigger that cutscene because it's slow. You basically just clip yourself up into the entrance, very similar to how you clip yourself up into the Hera entrance. You just kind of go up the tower, and then GT tends to be accessed when, as a general rule, we like to follow when you can access Ice Harmos from either side. So in this case, if you have Fire Rod Samaria, you can get to Ice Harmos from the right side. And there are, without having Hammer, of course, you can't really get anywhere on the left side. But yeah.
Another thing, yeah, like taking into consideration too when doing Gan's tower is also key logic. With certain locations being accessible while you only have a certain amount of keys, it puts some items out of logic. And if you don't know the key logic for the dungeon, and if you find progression in one of those places, you can be searching with that item that you found in places that you shouldn't be looking for it.
Yeah, and GT key logic, there are some changes made to how GT works that kind of make the key logic a little bit weird, because there's there's an ether and a 50. There's some concessions made in the interest of quality of life that would normally, like, the climb would have different key requirements than it does, but in the interest of not putting keys in the climb that you'd have to like go up and get a small key and then come back down to find the big key, like. Or something like that. However, I've heard it described to me in a ways that I don't pretend to understand because it doesn't happen. But suffice to say, we fixed GT key logic so that it's nice. But that makes parts of it not make sense if you try to math it out. So GT key logic is hard to understand.
So MM2, using the mirror to Death Mountain descent down into the Dark World. He's gonna be searching some like Skullwoods and Thieves Town area to try and find his Moon Pearl. Unfortunately, we know that it's not there, but he can still get some checks out of the way. It's not gonna be as useful as if you have Moon Pearl, obviously, since you'll have to come back later to actually complete some of these locations.
Ooh, that's a sword on Bumper Ledge. Okay. I can't get that now. There's no way for Bunny State to get up there, but that's good to know for later. So what MM2 is doing is logical. Like, it is entirely possible for our Pearl to... We know it's in Cannonball, but as far as MM2 knows, he's chasing potential Pearl locations. So these two checks, the C-shaped house and chest game, are entirely possible spots for the Pearl, as well as Bunny reviving into Skullwoods. Dante having the Pearl out of that third sword, you're never going to pass up a tempered sword in plain view.
Yeah, it only takes a handful of seconds to actually go and clip yourself into that bump and teleport into the Bumper Ledge location for grabbing the sword.
And you go ahead and go into Skullwoods. Going to go ahead and just clear it back to front as you would do in any standard seed, because we've got the Fire Rod. We may as well just go kill Moth.
And then with the Cane of Samaria too, on your way to the back, it's really quick to just grab this one chest and then mirror back out. Or just walk back out, and that's one of the two items in Skullwoods. Yeah, I really like this play into Skullwoods. Like I said, it's a clearable location and you have to complete it because it's a crystal. I love going from crystal to crystal without doing some overworld checks.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard route. Like what Dante and Chex are doing here, they're just starting at the mountain, going right for Bumper Ledge, and then just making your counterclockwise rotation. Skullwoods, Thieves Town. They'll clip themselves into Mire area and just kind of do everything in one smooth motion.
Krill activating his flute. In this mode, flute isn't as great as it is in the normal rando and vanilla gameplay. Seeing as how we have way different ways to get to locations, but it's still nice to have once we have both Titan's Mitts and Hammer, allowing you to get to Dark World a little bit faster by going the intended routes.
Yeah, flute's nice to have. It's not required. Like Dawn said, we can get into Mire without it. But if you get it early enough, it may be worth activating just for the travel benefit it offers. Especially if you're in a seed where you have a flute, but you haven't found, you're still having to go up the mountain. Like I guess it could be a very convenient way to just get up the mountain without having to do a traditional Death Mountain ascent.
No progression inside of Skull Woods, and Dante took down the Moth to claim his crystal and a full heart out of the deal. And MM2 found the powder, so he clipped into the wall and did a little, like, not fake flipper, some flipper action, and Pet is dead to go and powder inside.
No Pet today. Huh?
Bad location.
Yeah, you do it's a weird transition basically with clipping yourself into that little pool, and you transition and it does a little wrap, and then you do a specific motion to put yourself up on the ledge and you drop in, and then because you're not where you look like you are, but you just kind of drop in because the game thinks you're over there and you can just drop in the hole. There's a lot of shenanigans and overworld glitches with the game thinking you're somewhere else compared to where you are visually, but you can still interact with terrain elements where you are visually, and that makes for a lot of interesting scenarios.
And Krell entered Skullwoods from the front looking for items, which is a little unfortunate for him, losing some time. Using our commentator mode, we knew that there was no items up front. Looks like Dante's making his way towards Thieves Town area, and I'm assuming he's going to grab powder from one of these locations. I didn't see where it was. Right here in chess game.
Yep, there it is. Yeah, Dante is pretty much kind of our lead runner here right now in terms of getting us new information, because he'll be heading right into Thieves Town, if not after. Yeah, he'll do C shape and then Thieves Town. He might even do Brewery, just looking to maybe get a lucky hammer.
Yeah, that's one reason to put off Thieves Town just a little bit longer, just in case there is something in the big chest of its progression. It's going to be a really orphan location without the hammer.
I think my was it my week 2? I think one of my MT races actually had a hammer in chest game, so I was like, oh, there it is. Yeah, Thieves Town's another dungeon that we have to clear because it is a crystal. Dante's gonna also get our lazy kid check here. I guess he has a bottle and we haven't marked it. I didn't even know where he got a bottle.
Me neither, but Healy gave his pocket change for showing him a pretty vase. To him too, finally getting his Moon Pearl, gonna also opt to do more of the dungeon. Try and just knock it out at once, even though it is a pendant. And Chuck's kind of going out of his way to not do Thieves Town. Like I said, with the hammer being a possible location or item needed to get all the items from Thieves Town, opting to do something else. And that's the third medallion. So no medallion hunt for us today, and it does put a... Like I said, I don't remember what medallion is required to open up Misery Mire, but they have all 3 now, so
yeah,
might go and hop in there.
Now it doesn't matter. And with some area and a fire source, like, Mire is completely accessible. That's a matter of whether Chex wants to dig mire for items, if he feels like that's a thing that needs to be done right now.
Yeah, currently still searching for the hammer for go mode, I believe. With what he he doesn't have hook shot, so unless he can hover, he'll have to go into that Tower of Hera basement for that. But yeah, there's up to 3 items if you count the green pendant and Misery Mire. And it's one of those locations that's kind of out of the way until... So it's kind of good to just like dip it while you're already in the area.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, you may as well just do it right now. It's I think it's either like you do it now or never sort of thing. And Chex has decided let's dig in here for items.
But I guess it's not so out of the way, seeing as how he does have Tinesmiths and the flute. Or no, he doesn't have the flute yet. That was Dante that went up to Hookshot Cave to get that.
Yeah, Dante's the only one's been up there so far. Well, I actually know Krubbles went up there too, but he has the hook shot, so he did it normally. Krubbles gonna go ahead and make his way into Thieves Town as well.
Yeah, Thieves Town after Skullwoods, it's once again, it's just another clearable crystal. You need to do it. Might as well just get it out of the way right now.
First item in Mire ends up being a full heart in the spiked chest. That's 1 down.
One thing that I'll find interesting is if someone just decides to turn in the Smiths, because with the Tinesmiths and the mirror, it's pretty quick to get the Smiths. And using the purple chest glitch, being able to turn it in, even with just dropping it right off in the Dark World, mirroring next to the thief to open up the chest immediately, and just kind of avoiding the Misery Mire area. And Krell was the one that did do the Mire Shed right away. So he might opt to do the Smith Chain going along towards Hype Cave.
On Dante's side, we're fighting blind. We've got the small key from the maiden chest, which means there's an item on blind or in the big chest. It's on blind. Okay, so I believe we're at 4 items in Thieves Town, and we're not going to worry about the big chest.
And Krell getting the right pixel to just dash straight up from the bottom of the hellway in Thieves Town.
It feels so good every time you get it. It just works out, because that room can be such a pain.
MM2 making me a tiny bit worried, even with the red mill against the Armos, having 1 heart while he's going into his enraged form, and missing a couple of arrows.
Dante's done with Thieves Town. Mirror's out right at the entrance, and there's never going to be a more convenient time to activate your flute. If you're going to do it, go ahead and do it right now.
So Chex doing Dark Mire.
That's he is filtering this. I didn't see if we got a second item. So the second item could be on Victorious, but it's either that or he's committed to getting the most value out of this by going for the green pendant.
Yeah, there is something on the green pendant, like the hammer. It is a pretty out of the way location to actually get one of the biggest things you need. And like I said, it's also go mode for him outside of the commentator's go mode.
Yeah. Yeah, if Chex nails something good off the green pendant, like in particular the hammer, that would be really end up being kind of like his intuition paying off again.
And part of that is if he does find it, he can work his way backwards through the logic to try and find the lamp, which is kind of awkward because the lamp, you don't really need it if you're high enough skill level and know the dark rooms, but just knowing what's in logic. Looks like Dante's gonna do the smith chain. Nothing on the smiths. And synced boss kills over on Chex and Krubell side.
I don't hate this check from Dante here. I think it's pretty reasonable. You've got all the equipment to do smiths right now, and you're in the area. You may as well.
Yeah, it knocks out 3 locations at once. Just can't get the hammer pegs, of course.
And we do have access to Ice Palace, but you don't really want to go into ice without the hammer. It's not a great option. So I don't blame him for doing other.
Entering ice is kind of like doing swamp without the hammer. There's only a handful of locations that you can actually access. Of course, doing ice without a hammer is a little bit more worthwhile, just because you can get more than one chest out of the way.
Yeah, I'm guessing Check skipped cutscene, and then the last item's in cutscene, unfortunately. So he's gonna go back in for it.
Yeah, taking a bit of a gamble coming to Misery Mire, like in the first place, and having to go back in just for a cutscene room is kind of out of the way, even more so.
It feels bad, yeah. Especially when this ends up being like a heart piece or something. You're like, why am I here?
So I kind of wonder where Dante's going to go. That he's opting to go back into the Dark World.
I wonder if he's going to check right side GT at this point, maybe. Looks like, yeah, he's setting up for a GT clip. There's that heart piece I called out. Yeah, go figure. All right, so I'd imagine Check's going to clip himself out of Mire and head over to... where's he going next? My brain is dying.
Looks like he's going to go towards Stumpy. Oh, he died. Did he die? Yeah, no. Never mind. I just saw the door there and assumed that it was the Agina's cave. So no, he didn't die.
He's not in fake world now. Oh, he's gonna go for Smith Chain. Okay.
So we have in Hype Cave. Not a whole lot. Oh, where did Dante find that hammer? Was
that in purple? That hammer was in purple.
Oh wow.
So Dante nailed that. So all right then. That's given him. So he doesn't have the hook shot, but Dante is a good player who will get all these checks on the left side anyway. It's possible to get them out of logic with a combination of bomb jumps or hovers or however you want to do it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of surprising. Maybe he was no.
Oh, he's gonna. Okay.
I'm guessing he realized that he's in go mode outside of hook shot, so now he's gonna go and do the in logic checks.
Which is correct. Yes, he does only need the hook shot, so he's not going to search any hook shot locked locations, unless he has to come back in here to find the big key to climb the tower. But that's the big key is not going to lead to the hook shot. Most likely.
I believe he already has the big key. I believe that was in the Stelphos room.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Which is why he didn't continue even further. So
that makes sense, actually. So I missed that. So yeah, that makes sense because finding the BK in the Stalfos room means he's then going to bonk his way to the one chest on the left side, which is in logic with the hammer, and that's the map chest, double fire bar, because you can bonk to it. Anything else past that is out of logic with the hook shot. So yeah, he's skipping that for good reason.
That's right. That's why he didn't skip that chest. And Check's doing a nice teleport to go and turn in this purple chest. The way that I said, it was the purple chest that had the hammer.
Yeah, so he did the invisible purple chest turn in. He can do that pretty much by any method as long as he mirror close enough to the guy.
I'm too not having that much fun with the Gibdos. I personally dislike the Gibdos just how much health they have.
It's too much. Gibdo's always been tanky enemies, even since Zelda 1. Like they were just terrible to kill. The Sleepy Knight asking a good question here. Is Krelbel going to win because of the hookshot location? It's entirely possible. At this point, Krelbel obviously just needs the hammer, and as soon as Krelbel decides to go for Smith Chain, which I don't know when he will at this point, it's kind of by itself now. I don't know for sure that he's gonna win. If he goes for that immediately, obviously, yeah, I think he's got a big advantage, but I don't know when he'll go for Smith Chain at this point.
In my opinion, he did orphan the Smith Chain, and I assume he doesn't really want to go back there until he does find the hammer and to be able to get the hammer picks at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, once Krelbel has the hammer, like that's it. Like he doesn't need to look for anything else. So he's looking for just one item.
I don't, or actually, Krelbel was the first one to activate his flutes. Yeah, his flutes are active. And Dandy decided to go up Gan's tower without the hookshot, using his hover capabilities.
Yep. So in terms of when you climb the tower, it's pretty much like whenever it's convenient to do so. Because again, we don't need the crystals. Like there's no crystal requirement for GT. It still requires 7, but to open the cutscene. But you don't really have to do that. You just clip yourself in. Actually, let's talk a little bit more about GT. So some of you might be aware that there's part of the item filling algorithm called the GT junk fill. In a no glitches seed, GT, it's proportional to the crystals, actually, I think. So in like an open or a standard seed where it's a 7/7, GT, when the items are being filled in, gets a random number between like 0 and 15 of guaranteed junk items filled into it. So that's why GT tends to not have anything useful into it. Also, especially since it's very late in the progression chain. In Overworld glitches, that doesn't happen. It is treated as 0. So GT is entirely possible that it can just have good stuff in it.
Yeah, and in this mode, being able to do GT at pretty much any time that you get the Moon Pearl, you can just treat it like any other dungeon inside the game, or kind of like Kakariko, where you only come in when you want to grab so many items. Like, when's the best time to go there? And you gotta complete Gan's Tower, and you gotta do all 7 crystals, so it's really just when you want to complete it is all up to you, instead of in non-Overworld glitches modes where GT's like the absolute last location you always do.
Yeah, this is still a 7/7 defeat Ganon, so we do have to get all 7 crystals and clear the Aghanim 2 fight in order to actually fight and defeat Ganon. So outside of the Overworld glitches rule set, like the goal is very much the same as your standard your average seed that most people will see.
All right, and it looks like Krell is actually making his way towards that purple chest. He is in the area for it.
This is extremely good news for him. I hope if he goes for it, yeah, this is Krellbel's in a good position here. God, Hookshot and Hera coffee break. That is I don't blame anyone for skipping it. And here's Dante going for a Moldorm 2 hover, making it. Ooh, almost got there. I was about to say making it look easy, but it's actually not easy at all.
But this is like one of those seeds where you're most likely going to try and last location at least one of the important items. With the Moon Pearl being in Eastern Palace, you had the hammer in Purple Chest, as well as Tower of Harrison Barrett, Tower of Hera Basement, having the hook shot. There's a lot of rude locations it can be at, and I think finding the hammer before hookshot is a lot worse news for these runners. Seems how it opens up a lot more locations where Krell was actually running out of locations to find the hammer.
But Krell, having obtained the hammer and the purple chest, is now officially in go mode at about 59 minutes, 10 seconds, somewhere in that range. He is good to go. Looks like he's going to go ahead and just go back into finish up, take out the back of desert for his next crystal here.
Yeah, like a sub 1 hour go mode is actually very nice to have.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's going to be able to. Actually, nobody's touched Pod. So interestingly enough, like Palace of Darkness, for having 5 items and all that potential, like everyone's just gonna. I mean, well. Krellbolt at least gets to go mode Pod, which is really nice because Pod can waste a lot of time looking for stuff if you go there. Also, yeah. Ice Palace. That's another dungeon we haven't really seen much of, if at all, and that's another really nice go mode.
Yeah, and Swamp Palace as well. Being able to go mode Swamp Palace and Ice Palace are 2 super quick dungeons when you don't have to try and search the items there. Pod, to me, go mode is just slightly slower than regular mode, since if the big key is inside the back, like in the dark maze, it could be like a last location kind of chest to find it.
Check is doing a flipper wrap into Ice Palace. Interesting. Like, we don't have to do this because like we've got mitts, but he's just choosing to do it because of where he is, and he's just gonna go for it.
Yeah, and part of this is just a showcase of the glitches, which is why I assume Dante also did do the super jump over to go to the pyramid.
Speaking of Ice Palace, Dante's right ahead of him.
And this is what we mentioned is the being able to like last location that hook shot with Ice Palace being one of the few dungeons that also have a possible hookshot requirement. It's kind of surprising that Dante came here, but he also can just complete it as a crystal with the hammer.
Yeah, so I mean, we have Samaria, of course, so Icebreaker is completely an option, which makes this dungeon a lot easier to navigate. And they've got the hammer, of course. I think these guys were definitely putting off ice until they found the hammer, and then that's when they said, all right, I've got the hammer and Samaria, I can go to ice and just clean it out. Because with Samaria, you can get around the logical hookshot requirement for Ice Palace. Like, there's no way you're going to get stuck in Ice Palace as long as you have Samaria.
But yeah, like waiting for the hammer is definitely the right call, seeing as how you needed to. If you do the icebreaker, you kind of get locked out if you don't find the small key.
Oh yeah.
But as well as you can't even defeat the boss without the hammer, seeing as how you needed to knock down the peg before jumping down.
Exactly, and that's why ice, like hammerless ice, just is it's a desperate play. Like you don't do that until it's pretty much the only thing you got left.
Looks Dante's gonna go straight to the iced tea room first, where Chex is going into the freezer room.
So he'll either skip iced tea or do it last. I'd imagine he's gonna check iced tea. No big key yet. It's in iced tea.
That's the advantage of going the route that Dante did. Is you if you don't have the big key, you can go grab that first before coming here. And they did find 2 items so far, so they're searching for a 3rd one.
Yeah, that seems just like a dungeon tracking error on Chex's part. Because at that point, like. You don't have the big key and you're above the big chest. Like there's only one place it can be. At that point, if you realize that, you can bomb jump over this hole and get back into the long room to go to iced tea. But yeah, he didn't quite catch on.
Krell doing a nice diver down there with the Cane of Samaria. Get at the back of Swamp Palace to go and defeat Argus.
Big chest of ice is a big 20. At this point, all we're really going to find that can help these guys is like the last sword. We've located everything else. We've got silvers, we've got red mail. I guess more hearts would be nice too, but yeah, it's not like these guys don't know it, of course, but it's not like we're going to find anything else that's going to really make a difference here.
Yeah, outside of just safeties and the gold sword, there really isn't much that can help.
Krellball's working on Argus, almost in phase 2 now. He'll end up having his 5th crystal momentarily here, and he'll be on to go mode another dungeon.
And Dandy making quick work of Cold Stare.
That's a very clean cold stare. Simultaneous crystal pickups.
Someone was telling me that if you actually hit Cold Stare into the left wall, the Fire Rod sometimes deals double damage to it.
Oh, interesting. I was not aware of that. I know that you can get splashes on all 3 puffs as long as your spooky is not weird. But yeah,
or maybe that was it. I don't know. I never tested it myself.
Check's a bit of a spot here. Kind of low in health. He's going to burn that green potion. Just go ahead and fire rod these puffs really safely because they still hurt even on red mail. Or he has blue actually. So those puffs deal 3 hearts of damage. That would be death.
Yeah, that's the advantage of what I was saying earlier with the half magic and fire rod. He kind of burned down some enemies very quickly, and Cold Stare is no exception to that rule. That fire rod damage.
So Chex has gone to house. Let's see where he goes next. He may be heading. Is he going to head for pod? Maybe.
Yeah, I believe pod will be his next play. It's a clearable crystal with what he has. Outside of the lamp, obviously, but for all he knows, lamp could be inside pod.
I wonder if this is a. Yeah, he's doing this portal. It's interesting. I wonder what else he's including with this check here, because I think if you're going to pod, you just go to 5. Maybe. I think that's faster, isn't it?
Chex doesn't have his flute yet.
I mean, he could still run to that port. Yeah, he's going.
Oh.
Did he not do catfish? He might not have done. He might not have been up there to do a catfish DMT.
Oh yeah, he did not check catfish. Then he can just teleport down and get to the pod area.
Yeah. Or he could be going a catfish DMA. So I was thinking, there are 2 options here. He could do catfish and then clip his way down into the pod area, or he could go up the mountain from here. We'll see what he does. I think, knowing Chex, he's probably going to go up the mountain from here.
You know, that does make a lot of sense. I think. So he's been kind of on this path to go and do some pendant dungeons.
This is for pod. Okay, so he's going to do a little we call it the crab pit, even though there aren't crabs here. He's going to just go ahead and do a teleport off a specific spot here and just go south and end up in the pod maze area. Welcome to our viewers, our raiders from Speed Gaming French. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to pronounce in French because I will butcher it. Welcome, raiders. We are in the middle of a Link to the Past daily race, Overworld glitches. Right now, we've got one runner in who is Krellball, who is in go mode. He is smashing through dungeons at lightning speed, whereas our other 3 runners are desperately searching for one particular item, which is the hook shot. It looks like MM2 Ness actually is doing hammerless pod, so he hasn't found the hammer either. So this is a play that's unfortunately not going to work out for him. But the hook shot is going to end up being found by their 3 in the Hera coffee break chest.
And for MM2, the hammer will be also in the purple chest. So some very out of the way locations for these items.
Yeah, Krebel is now up to 6 crystals. He just needs to now go to Pod and then climb the Ganon's tower, and he is going to be ready to fight the pig. Oro, I don't know. It doesn't sound stop mode. Who wants to stop playing this game? Why would we stop?
With this, see to the items where they are. You could have go-moded a lot of dungeons, including Gan's Tower itself.
Yeah, with how many of these things were just in like kind of really out of the way like overworld checks, or just like in like a shallow check in a pendant dungeon. Just there's a lot of Gomo potential in this one. Yeah.
And then part of that is just TR and Misery Mire being pendants, with it requiring a lot less items to beat the game in this game mode. Like, you don't even need Tines Mitts to beat this. You just a handful of the regular items and you can just go. This game mode just is so fun. You can a lot of the times you can just do the game so much faster, just more efficient checks, more fun routing, less items to beat the game, which means go mode's faster. It is just a blast to play Overworld glitches.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really kind of Dante doing a pod ledge hover. Ooh, not quite getting it. This is a very tricky hover because it's changed directions in midair. I think you'll get it though. He's pretty good at this. But yeah, it's Overworld glitch is really neat to get into because it opens up your eyes and shows you like how many more ways you can get around the overworlds. Even when you're playing casually, it just like you just have more options. It's fantastic for multi-worlds because you ever get stuck in a multi-world, you'll be like, well, I guess I can just start clipping to places that are out of logic and get some more checks. Also, I just noticed like every runner is in pod right now.
So everyone gets the high fives.
There's like a bunch of high fives going all around. We can't even like keep track of them.
But yeah, like adding overworld glitches to your multi-worlds actually does make it so you're not in what people call as like BK mode, just waiting for your items to show up, because you have a lot more checks available at almost all stages of the run. And like I almost am in the habit where even when I'm playing just regular practice races with my my teammates for League, I kind of, as soon as I get the boost, I'm like, do I start quote unquote cheating and start doing overworld glitches, even though it's just a practice for regular modes?
There's always that temptation. Yeah, once you know how to do the stuff and you find the boots, you're like, I can go places with these. Like, I don't need a flute to get into mire. I'm just gonna walk in like it's nothing. All right, so Krellwell, of course, is in pod, just looking for the big key so he can go to the boss. And looks like Chex has now found the big key and everything else. He's on his way to the back.
That's what I was saying earlier with pod being a go mode dungeon, is that the big keys can be in the back, and so you don't really do the dungeon any faster.
Yeah, depending on where that big key ends up, he made checking almost everything in the dungeon anyway. So he's got it now. Now he can mirror and go to the boss, but he's still got everything but the dark maze, it looks like.
Yeah, like depending on where the big key is, it could be on like, let's just say there's a non-small key on the left side in the very first check you normally check in this dungeon, and you can just have a small key and the big key on the right side, and then you can just go straight there without having to do any more of the dungeon than the bowlock side.
Check showing off a really nice strategy for the turtle room there, dragging him out to the right side and getting only really two needed hammer uses there. That's a pretty good strat for that room.
And MM2 looks like he's gonna do mirror wrap inside of TR to get the laser bridge right away.
So this is a trick we call the mirror wrap to laser bridge. This is not in logic. Obviously, it's a trick you can do to get there, but the logic does not expect you to be able to access laser bridge from this entrance. So that can have implications on, like, you'd never find Samaria on laser bridge, for instance,
Or the big
or the
key.
lamp, or the big key. Also, yeah. In terms of the inside of TR, the big key will be in a location that it could be in an NMG seed, because it's to get to any of the deeper locations like Crystal Roar and those, you still have to have the big key to access them.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it isn't logic. I hope it gets added soon. It adds a little bit more flexibility to how the game wants you to route TR. Like in inverted modes, when you have the mirror, you can go straight to the back into laser bridge, and you can find Biggie on that side, for example.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see that added to the logic set, considering, like, I guess that's a matter of how safe that trick ends up judged to be, and like, or how difficult it is to execute. I mean, I personally don't think it's that hard. I've done it enough times, but I can see that being a potentially a significant barrier to someone who doesn't really isn't familiar with it that much. So Krebel's got his pod crystal, and Dante is working on his. That is Krebel's 7th crystal. We're going to see him now head. I don't think he's cleared GT now. Yes, we're going to see him head back up the mountain and go take care of Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, with the routing that Krebel did, he opted to do Ganon's Tower last, so he can just drop down straight into the Ganon fight. It's a smart thing to do, seeing as how he didn't doesn't need to really go anywhere besides the dungeons.
Yeah, this works out well because, like, you don't have to do a GT last in this mode, but you absolutely can. If it works out that you have to go up the mountain to do it, and then you drop on the pyramid, like, yeah, that works out really well. And as you can see, like, getting to GT really doesn't take that much time. You clip your way up to Hera, you drop into the portal. You don't have to correct your camera for it because you're entering a dungeon entrance, which will take your camera no problem, and you're inside, no problem. And he knows, of course, he's got left side checks to do. He's going to stumble upon that big key pretty quickly here.
And Check's going to be the second of the feature runners here to be in go mode. About to go get his hook shot from this Tower of Hera basement. And Dandy had a plan to go somewhere in the Dark World, it seemed. I saw him try and get to the Dark World portal. He didn't correct his camera, so he's kind of lost there, and so he saved and quit. Looks like he's going to go back to Turtle Rock in the looks of it, perhaps. But he full cleared Turtle Rock.
I don't believe Chex has been up in GT yet. No, I think that's actually what he's going to do right now. Or he's going to do a... where's he going?
Oh, mouths are silent, trying to see where Chex is running off to.
I'm not sure what Chex is doing here. Is this a super dive?
Yeah, it looks like...
He's going to swamp, okay. Or a skydive or super jump. So you basically have to get your camera incorrect here. And then you clip yourself out into the void here, and then you do 2 drops, and it'll left transition back to the right, and you can run into swamp, and here you are. You can actually just mirror here and do the dam, and do it that way. Yeah. Yep. We also call that voiding out, to kind of poke fun a little bit of one of our mentor runners, Void Soul, who I think did it 8 times on one of his races. It was a good time. So that's basically a quick way to get from the mountain all the way down to the south Dark World area, to the swamp area.
Curl taking the safety door and right before the gauntlet, making sure he can be as reckless as he wants going at the dungeon and still survive, capturing a fairy in a bottle.
M2 is checking the top of TR, he's still looking for hammer and hook shot. It's kind of unfortunate he hasn't checked either of those yet, and it could end up being still a while before he finds those items. And Dante's given Spike Cave a look. In Spike Cave and Overworld glitches, we tend not to save and quit out because you can walk out of Spike Cave and then clip your way up into GT or do a Death Mountain descent. So we tend to run out of Spike Cave.
M2 has to be really careful. It only has 2 hearts in this roller room. I know how punishing it is to be all the way from Laser Bridge and having to come all the way back here.
Oh, be careful, please. And he hasn't found either of the invulnerability items, which are in this seed somewhere. I forgot where they were. So he's just get around it. There you go.
I don't remember where the can of burner was, but the cape was after Ice Armos in Gen's Tower.
Right, it was there. I saw Dante pick up burnout. Of course, I've forgotten where it is, so whatever. So we've got Krelble at the top of GT now. He's getting through the Helmasaur room. He's in full go mode, and there's pretty much nothing. He's not worried about checking anything because he's very well equipped for this. He's got Tempered Sword, Red Mail, 11 Hearts, Silver Arrows. We are not worried about gaining at all at this point.
And especially having a fairy in a bottle too, that's even more room for error and still being able to beat the game.
Yeah.
Moldorm 2 bullying Krelble off the edge.
Moldorm 2 has been a bully for multiple people in this run.
Look, Dandy going into Misery Mire. As we said earlier, it's up to 3 items you can find here, including the green pendant.
Yeah, did we see that green pendant turn in? I missed it.
I assume we did because Chex was the one that completed it, and then he did do Pod.
Yeah,
and then after that he found his hook shot.
Actually, yeah, now I remember Chex doing the mirror, or no, Chex clipped in. Somebody mirrored to it, but I didn't actually see the check itself. I guess it probably was Chex, actually. Yeah, I just looked away, of course. But Krelble doing the Aga 2 fight. These patterns are it's not great, but they're not horrible. That one's kind of bad. Never mind. This fight's bad, and I hate it.
Yeah, like depending on how out of sync the clones get, it can make the fight very awkward.
Yeah, sometimes the desync works in your favor, but then it really just kind of gets more pattern dependent. Because at that point you're able to work around the delay of the not clone. Aga himself is he's taken more time to throw a blue ball at you, which can disrupt everything. But Krelble's defeated Aga 2. He's got all 7 crystals, prepared to drop in again and take care of this run. This is going to be a really good time here, actually, once he's done.
Yeah, like being in go mode at less than 1 hour in, he really got to be able to run through pretty much every dungeon, and so like the fastest dungeon you can run through as well. Getting a sub 130 is really fast with how poor some of these locations were.
Yeah, Krelble. I mean, going right for the Hera basement, just like the fact that he also got to hammer within a reasonable amount of time, like that, it set him up for a huge advantage. And you saw that he got to go mode 3 full dungeons, and some of the best dungeons in go mode too. Ice Palace, Pod, Swamp in particular, like. It's huge. Like, this is gonna be a big time difference.
And Check's right on his heels, 1 dungeon behind, working his way upside the Gen's Tower Gauntlet.
Yeah, I guess checks actually for as long as it take him, like he sniffed it out fairly quickly. Like when he was down to, all right, I've done as many things as I can do. Found that hook shot, and then all right, well, I just gotta go to the swamp and then back up the mountain for GT. So he's not too far behind.
I think with how much checks is
Trouble,
done, he was actually running out of locations.
These
If you
checks.
notice on his tracker, he's done all but Turtle Rock. So his plan was probably just do the basement while you're here, and if it's not here, then go straight to TR.
And Crubble is finished. We're gonna get an official time for him in just a moment. Get your GGs in chat. And that is a first place finish in our racetime.gg room of an official time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 43 seconds. Fantastic job. And Crubble is in the booth with us for an interview. GG's, man. Fantastic.
Oh my god.
How did you feel about finding the hook shot in Hera Coffee Break when you went for it so early?
Oh, that was I mean, this seed was just one jackpot after another for me. But I've had races against this group before where I think the last either speed gaming race or weekly race, one of them was similar, like fantastic luck for me, and I got sniped. So towards the end, like I had that in my mind. Oh my god, my heart was just racing so much on that the GT climb and the Ganon fight. I just kept looking at the I need to stop doing that. I kept looking at the race time room, just waiting for the finish, and it didn't come. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're looking at, I hate looking at the room. I prefer not to see it until I'm done, because I don't want to have that tension of being like, man, nobody's finished. I mean, how close is it? I don't want to have all that pressure, just like screwing up my execution at the very end.
Yeah, it it certainly doesn't help, but oh man, oof, my heart is still going. Oh, that run.
Oh, I'd imagine like this sort of field where you're up against like Chexium and Andante in particular. Who else is in here?
Orange. Yep.
Yeah, Orange is here. Yeah, like you've got some really tough opponents. So like nailing that hook shot, like you got to think that most people are not going to get that right. Like it's Hera Coffee Break. Like, is that just a safe assumption for you?
Yeah, I think when I chose Hera Coffee Break, and actually the first chest in Pendant Eastern for Moon Pearl, which, hey Adler, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what's up with Cannonball? Because I saw Cannonball Moon Pearl and I lost it for like a good minute. I just let Don talk while I said things about this game that don't belong on the air.
Oh man, that was. But yeah, when it came time to do those checks, kind of my options were pretty limited at that point, and also I was thinking, okay, kind of put myself in the mind of my opponents. What are my opponents probably doing here? I was thinking they're probably going to Super Bunny Cave and dipping Pendant TR. That was really, really tempting because I had the cane and I think some other stuff. So I imagine other people did that.
We did. We saw a fair number of dips in a TR because the equipment was good for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was also what was the other one? Oh yeah, going into doing Bunny Death Mountain Descent to go into Village of Outcasts for the two chests there, and yeah, that was also tempting at that moment. But I just remembered our last race where I did all of those things and they had nothing, and the Moon Pearl was in the first chest in Eastern. And
yeah,
thought, you know what? I'm just gonna peek in there before I do that.
Yeah, Cannonball's developing a reputation. I mean, with this daily combined with, I think we had at least 3 Cannonball Moon Pearls in MT. So like, it has a reputation at this point.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about this seed for me was getting the book pretty early and finding them. So getting the information that the mirror was on Bombo's tablet, and then I think I got the Master Sword on Floating Island. I was really glad I remembered that clip, and then went right back for it so I could do escape. I don't think that. Oh wait, that had my mitts. That's right. Which, of course, the mitts were required, well, unless someone else found a bottle somewhere else. I'm pretty sure the mitts were required this seed, because the only bottle I found was locked behind the hammer, and the hammer was in. Oh, I guess there's. That's right. There are other ways to sequence break the hammer in this seed.
I think there's a bottle in TR at least. Dante's got 3
okay.
bottles, so there were definitely others available.
Wow.
I want to throw in a quick GG for Chex Human, who is our 2nd place finisher on stream. We're going to go get the official time. So Chex Human is going to come in 3rd place with a 1:30.04, beat out by Orange, who has taken 2nd place off stream with a 1:28.53. So you beat Orange by 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Yeah, that probably one of the most fortunate runs in any category that I've ever played.
Oh yeah, like you nailed so many key things with like relative right to them or not taking much time. Like even the hammer in purple, like that was not a hard find for you overall. And that was the one thing, because you had hook shot but no hammer. We're thinking as long as Trouble gets to the purple chest within a reasonable time, like this is in the bag, and you did.
Oh, so I was curious if I was the first person to reach the hammer.
I'm not the first to actually get the hammer, but definitely the first in actual having all the items for go mode.
Oh wow, so a lot of people put off Hera Basement then.
I want to say no, and no one did Hera Basement like at the time you did. Chex got there after he had 6 crystals, and he went back up to check it, and then found it, went down to Swamp, and then back up for GT.
Oh wow. Oh, what a seed.
And Dante, I want to point out, Dante is in hook shotless Swamp right now, which is really unfortunate.
Oh no. I mean, totally understandable. Like the Hera Basement, it's the kind of thing that you'll tend to last location.
Yeah, like I don't blame people for skipping it. It's not in my philosophy. I'm probably gonna do it if I can, but I don't blame people for skipping it, because it's a really long check, and anytime it doesn't have anything, you feel bad for doing it.
Yeah, and with the I think I had pretty early or I was considering going there even earlier, but I didn't have the mirror at the time, and so I would have needed to death warp on Blue Mail, and that seemed, I don't know, that didn't seem very appealing. So that's why I put it off as long as I did. But
yeah,
apparently others put it off even longer. Huh.
Yep.
Ooh, man. It's,
and MM2.
That was.
MM2, even more unfortunately, is now going into Ice Palace without the hammer. Was really missing that purple chest, unfortunately.
All right, I think I'm going to sign off the interview. Oh wait, did people enjoy my? Did anyone enjoy my sprite today?
We did see some comments about your sprite. I go ahead and throw in a quick word if you like about what's going on with that, because I'm sure people are curious.
So that is a shuffled sprite created with my the github.com/crubble/ALTTP sprite shuffler. It is a script that allows you to mangle the link sprite in all sorts of different ways. I think the last time I was on a speed gaming stream, I created a sprite that just shuffled the link, like the link head poses. Oh, hey, GG Chex.
And we are joined in the booth here by Chex and GG to you. We'll finish up here and I'll ask you for your thoughts.
Oh, so I was just saying my sprite shuffler today shuffled in random head poses from all 322 sprites that are available on the main website. And so I kind of re-rolled it a few times until I saw one that made me laugh and went with that.
I thought it was good, and people were entertained by it, I'm sure.
Oh, good. Well, hey, GG
GG,
Tech.
GG at the end of you. Well, very well played. We'll see you around sometime. Take care.
See you later next time. Bye.
All right, Check Seaman, what are your thoughts here?
This worked out for full clearing. The only thing I left for a really long time was Hera Basement, so that was just something I needed to do, of course.
Yeah, Hookshot and Hera Basement. It was a check that people were definitely not. There's a good chance people were not going to find that one quickly. Crumble went right for it, like just in Hera, like that was a one and done dungeon for him, and fortunately for him, he happened upon the hookshot there. You didn't take too long to get to it, all things considered. Like you were still really efficient through the game. By the time Krelble was getting down into like the Ganon fight, finishing up the game, you had just like Swamp and GT to go. So you weren't really that far behind, all things considered.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So it was a really uninteresting logic in terms of it having no chains. It seems I couldn't find any item chains at all.
No,
it just
not really.
Like everything was in sphere 1, and then that's like 3 items in sphere
like
3.
Like the
2.
deepest anything really was like the hammer in purple chest, but even then, that's still not that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely a very flat seed, and that lends itself to having to unfortunately stumble upon a few items in awkward places sometimes.
Yeah, that can happen. It's not extremely common, but it certainly happens more often than not, and more often in overall glitches than no logic than in no glitches. Item fill.
And it looks like MM2 did forfeit. He was doing another dungeon that he could not complete with what he had. Dying to the Pen Gators and Ice Palace just kind of took the last bite out of him, but
yeah, I get that. Like you feel like you're still missing 2 items. You feel like at this point you're kind of way behind. You may as well just throw it in. Like still GG's to M2 for playing it through as well you did. Like just unfortunate, really missing those 2 items. And we'll get him up here in a moment for an interview too. And we have MM2 NES cartridge in the booth with us. GG to you. So since while we've got here, before you say anything, do you have any good guesses as to where your 2 items you're missing are?
I'm gonna guess Hammer and Pendant Mire because it was there in my ladder race earlier.
Nothing in Pendant Mire, actually. So your hammer is in purple chest.
Ah, lovely.
What do you think for the hookshot?
Swamp, of course.
Nope, not Hookshotless Swamp. Dante went for Hookshotless Swamp. That is up in the Hera coffee break.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, I was gonna last location that. I would not be going back for that for a long, long time.
And that is understandable. Hera coffee break, one of those checks that people will easily put off because it's so long to get for one item that might not matter. Krelble happened to do it just while he was up there. Hera was just a one-shot dungeon, stumbled upon that super early on and that set him honestly in a really good place. He didn't take terribly long to get to the hammer either, so that really contributed well to his completion. He actually only a collection rate of 138, which is compared to Chex is 148 here, so that shows just kind of like Krelble got to go mode 3 dungeons, which was really substantial here.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think as Malmo said sometime, or someone, I don't know if it was Malmo, but I think it was Malmo. Hera basement, you do it now when you do Hera first, or you do it never.
That is a Malmo quote.
That is
Yeah.
Malmo, yeah, absolutely. And like you could technically do it whenever, because how many times are you going to Hera clip? A bunch. You can insert that check whenever, but are you really going to do it later? Probably not.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, shoutouts to Super Malmo World, who's been in chat explaining a lot of stuff, because there's been a ton of stuff to keep track of, and there's no way we can explain all the tricks and glitches that are happening. She's done a great job. She's been one of our main mentors in the mentor tournament, also one of our tournament admins, doing honestly a lot of work for us. So big shoutouts to Super Malmo World.
Yeah. Yeah, how I routed that seed was just unfortunate. Did all the wrong things at all the wrong times. Yeah, just doing Eastern and then doing Pendant TR over GT, even though I only had access to right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt super behind, so I felt like I had to make a play that someone else wouldn't make, so I did TR. And then just the death before the compass chest was just unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it just didn't work out.
Yeah, like there were a lot of options this one, a lot of kind of guesses that could I make a play into this dungeon or that dungeon. And it's
Yeah. It reminds me of
unfortunately
Super
not much for, I mean, aside from Pendant Eastern having the Pearl and Cannonball again, not really much else to find.
Yeah. Like after I found the Pearl, I was debating leaving immediately. I was like, no, I should stay. And then after getting like the next chest, I was like, no, I'm wasting my time here. I should leave, but I have to do it all to justify my move. But honestly, this seed reminds me of like a lot of Super Metroid Randomizer seeds, to go on a tangent here, just because in Super Metroid Randomizer, you have like 2 main routing options for most seeds. And if you do the right one, you win. If you do the wrong one, you lose, just in general. So the seed kind of reminds me of SM. If you understand that.
That makes sense, yeah, because you can definitely get on a like you just got to find the stuff in this one. There were so many options. It was, and like Chex was saying too, like there really isn't much for logic depth on this one. This is a very, like, logically, this is a very flat seed. There's just stuff that's hanging out in like a wide variety of checks. It's a matter of just stumbling upon the correct ones and choosing the route that has those checks in line. Ooh, Dante, not cool. You have to mess up your camera for the super jump. Sorry, dude.
Heck. Yeah, super jump's fun, but
Yeah.
you do have to.
We get to see one of those from Chex, actually.
Ah, nice. Yeah, Chex, I know you love your super jumps. You taught it to me, in fact.
Oh yeah, that's great. I kind of wish, in retrospect, I had just done. Well, no, it was fine. Doesn't matter. I could have gone from Hera to GT to Swamp, but instead I went from Hera to Super Jump to Swamp to GT. So got to show that off.
I feel like maybe that's a little bit faster. Maybe there's probably not that much time difference there. No.
Sure.
Yeah, Dante's got his hook shot now, so he is actually headed into Swamp. He's got just that dungeon left at this point, and because he's already taken care of the top of GT, being a hover capable runner. So we've got just this, and he'll run his way up again, and it'll be done in a few minutes.
So who's still in the mentor tourney?
No, I'm participating.
Everyone's still in. We haven't right now. We are on our break week for the holidays. After this week, we're going to get into our 4th week of Swiss, and then
Oh yeah.
There you go. And then after that, we'll seed into brackets and then actually start eliminating people. So it's we're not eliminating anyone from Swiss rounds. It's purely just for the bracket seeding. And there's Malmo in chat. They're showing off our current pairings and ratings.
And it is Adler and I.
Yeah, so go figure. Our two commentators here, Don and myself, will be in our week 4 mentor tournament match, actually racing against each other in this
Good luck.
exact same format. Yes, I will. My first 2 races not too bad. My last 2, they're gonna be the tough ones. It'll be a hard fought race for sure.
Well, good luck to everyone. I'll hop off now.
All right, take
And
care. GG is well
Hope to
played.
participate more soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off as well. GG's to everyone. Thanks for having me on Restream, and yeah, shout outs to the Restream crew, of course, especially the trackers and the Restreamer. Those are always the names that go unheard, doing all the work behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off for now. See y'all around.
Take care, both of you. Now, Dante is finishing up Swamp, got his Cold Stir Crystal. He's going to make a quick run up to Ganon. I guess while he's doing that, we can do a quick run of shoutouts. So, obviously, you've got our on-screen runners. Feel free to give them a follow if you like what you've seen here. You'll doubtless get to see more of War Glitches action out of them. Chex Human, Krellable, MM2 NES Cartridge, and Dante. We've also got our crew today, myself, Adalor, on comms with Don Venier, my co-com. Our 2 trackers today are Lightyear and Professor Pixie, both keeping up with these 4 runners and making sure our on-screen tracker items are as accurate as possible. It's always interesting being able to just like it feels weird when you're starting a World Glitches and you do a dungeon like Swamp or Pod or something, and then you run to Ganon without saving quitting or anything. It's just like this feels weird, but you get used to it after a while.
Yeah, and with the mode being what it is, being able to complete Ganon's Tower at any time you can complete it. After that, if you're in Gomid, you kind of just got to decide which dungeons are the best dungeons to complete them in to have the quickest time to get to Ganon after completing the dungeon.
Yeah, the fact that you can access Ganon's Tower just whenever means there's sometimes some routing consideration to be made, as in when do you do Ganon's Tower, because that's a one-way free trip to the pyramid, and you may put that off until the very end, drop straight into Ganon, or you might be like, I'm on the mountain right now, or I feel like I'm just going to do GT and then just go from the pyramid to someplace else like Pod or something. So it's another dungeon to consider. Some people will describe it like an 8th crystal, because it in terms of how you do it or when you insert that dungeon clear, it definitely feels like that.
Yeah, and if you're like kind of into fast Ganon as a mode, then you're more used to also just being able to run to whatever dungeon to Ganon. Obviously, you got to do the 8th crystal Ganon's Tower in this mode because it's a defeat Ganon still.
Yeah. And Dante is finished. He's going to be our last finisher on stream. We'll get his official time in just a moment.
It looks like his official time is 1:47:28. GG's in chat for Dante.
He had to fight really hard to find the hook shot to get himself through the rest of the game, but he did get there. And yeah, like I was pointing out, like still, despite having like such a long quest to find Go Mode, still got himself a decent time here. And Dante is in the booth with us right now. GG's to you.
Yo, thanks. What a hot mess this piece of crap was.
Right? I mean, hook shot in Hera coffee break. What about that?
Yeah, that's like, I don't know. I like doing Hera early in Assured Sword, and honestly, that's the first time like the Firelock chest has bit me, but this is also the 3rd time in a row that hookshot's been my go mode, and I absolutely hate it.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was trying to meta game since it was a group race because I was like, all right, well, I haven't gone to mini Moldorm, and it's like,
Oh yeah,
you
your
know,
mini Moldorm check was like an hour 26 or something like that. It was so late.
yeah, it was after I did it after the first check because I felt like more people were going to put off escape later than I did potentially. So
Yeah.
once I saw a finish, I was like, it has to be Sphere 1. Like, it has to be. And then I was like, well, maybe it's not. I kept like arguing with myself and just doing all these stupid, like, filling in all the holes that I had left. It was great.
Yeah. No, the sea was really logically quite flat. Like Chex pointed out to us while he was still here earlier. Like there really wasn't much logical depth to this. Like the most was like the hammer, and even then, that's like 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah, like as soon as I got mitts, I was like, I need to prioritize when I get over there, making sure I do Smith Chain. And then when Hammer showed up there, I was like, well, one, great, I got to look for a hook shot again. But I'm glad that like my brain kicked into gear. I'm a little tired, so I'm glad my brain kicked into gear and remembered that there are a lot of chests in GT that cannot have a hook shot, but there are some that can. So I was like, I'll just check stuff here and hope for the best.
Yeah, you definitely. I want to say you were the first one to get to the hammer, actually, like first or second. Yeah, definitely the hook shot proved to be the elusive one, unfortunately.
Yeah,
He
I
was
mean,
the first one to grab the hammer.
well, that feels good, I guess.
Chex was the second one after completing Mizir Meyer, then he did the purple chest chain.
Oh, gotcha. At least I got the Super Scudge jump. Like, as soon as I saw I had the setup for that, I was like, we're doing this. I was like, I'm totally gonna do this, or I'm gonna die trying. And I was able to get it, so I was super happy.
Yeah, like I said, it's despite having such a hard time finding that hook shot, you still come up with a really decent time. Like you're still really like there's still a lot you can do without the hook shot. Fortunately, like you've got a bunch of crystal dungeons that, of course, don't require it, and at that point you're basically down to like you even clear GT, of course. You can hover the top of it, so that was not a problem. It's just a matter of just need it for swamp.
Yeah, and dipping swamp also felt bad. Especially after I think I was in swamp when the second person finished, and I was like, "There's no way it's here." But I was like, I should just commit to this play just in case.
Yeah, the hook shotless swamp was kind of a like feels bad. When it wasn't there.
So based off of my tracker, I had Hera basement and I had the cutscene chest in Meyer left. Like it had to be one of those two. So I was like, well, I'm guaranteed a sub 2, but the question is like, which one's it going to be? Is it going to be the absolute last location, or is it going to be, the next to last location?
All right. Well, I think that's going to just about do it for us here on our daily race here. Unless you have any final thoughts for us on this seed.
No, GG's to everybody, and thanks for doing the commentary, the restream. Thanks for Speed Game and doing Overworld glitches. It's been a lot of fun learning this stuff. I know Malmo's probably going to yell at me because I was using the bonk setup on the mountain, but it gets me on the right bump at least.
Oh yeah, you did a couple fun things for us. What was the the flying Scudge, whatever that is?
Yeah, the Scudge jump or whatever
that
was Hyrule Castle.
Fun to see too. Yeah.
I'm just happy I pulled that off. So, but yeah, I'll have to go look this back or watch this back.
This would be a good watch back. There's a lot of divergence. Everyone was in pod at the same time. That was one of the really cool parts later on. Just like everyone is in pod. Their high fives everywhere. It was pretty cool.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thanks for racing and being on Restream, putting on a good show for us. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. So we are, once again, I've been Adalor in the comms. With me has been Don Venier. Any final thoughts you'd like to throw in?
This is actually a really entertaining seed. I really like finding early go modes. I just love doing the game as fast as possible, and watching Krill getting go mode before 1 hour always feels good. And yeah, it just was a really good example of all the other different overworld glitches you can do to get around the map, as well as showing some of the worst locations possible for items. So yeah, it's been a fun watch, and looks like it's actually a very diverse race as to finish times, with the two closest being an off-stream runner and Chex with a 2-minute time difference. So
Oh
it
yeah.
really shows the difference in routing for this seed in particular.
Yeah, seas like this can end up having a ton of divergence, so many options. It's just a matter of where do you go first. If you happen to be looking for any more rando action on speed gaming tomorrow, excuse me, my apologies. Our daily race tomorrow will be at 11 p.m. Eastern. That is an open. We don't have a channel for that one yet, but look for the race room posted about half an hour to an hour ahead of time if you want to get on tomorrow's daily. Until then, we're going to sign off for now. Thank you all for showing up and watching our daily race. We'll hope to see you around for the next one.